The Mid-America Veterans Museum is a 501c3 nonprofit business. Your donations serve to further the museum's mission of sharing and preserving the stories of our veterans. To donate, visit mavm.org and click on Donate. The content covered in this podcast is for general informational, historical, and educational purposes only. Discussions about historical events, military service, personal experiences, or sensitive topics are presented for educational and archival purposes. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the host and/or guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy or endorsement of the Mid-America Veterans Museum. Neither the organization, host, director, nor the guest shall at any time be liable for the content covered, causing offense, distress, or any other reaction.
Welcome to the Operation Insight podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum with your host, Jason Galvin and Sergeant Ethan Gross. All right, welcome back, family. We are very excited. We've got two incredible guests with us tonight, and I know you're going to really enjoy this show. Ethan, why don't you go ahead and introduce our guests and go ahead and kick us off?
I'd be happy to. So we've only had one other married veteran couple on, and that was in the previous iteration, the dog tag, with Jason and Jim, and that was Zach and Selena Mann. And so this marks our only second opportunity to speak to a married veteran couple, and that couple is Nick and Carrie Schwartzkopf. I love saying that last name, Schwartzkopf. You think of good old Stormin' Norman when you hear that name.
Absolutely.
Any relation?
She says it.
Well, his sister says so.
Well, anyway, so Nick and Carrie Schwartzkopf, Chief Warrant Officer Nick Schwartzkopf was in the Marine Corps from November of 1967 until October of 1971. Took a year off, which we'll discuss that later, and then joined the Navy. I think that was after the Air Force said they couldn't use you. Is that what happened?
They would use me, but I would drop 2 pay grades, and I didn't want to do that.
No, that's not worth doing. But the Navy, I think they needed your expertise on the F4 was part of the reason they wanted you, and so you joined the Navy October 1972.
That's great.
And you didn't get out until December of 1999, and so it's a total of 30 plus years. You said 30 years and 2 months?
30 years, 2 months.
30 years, 2 months. That's an incredible amount of service. Petty Officer 3rd Class Carrie Schwartzkopf, United States Navy, June 1979 to June 1983. We love that the military does that, June to June. So immediately after active duty, Carrie joined the Navy Reserve beginning in 1983. She left the Navy Reserve in 1989. There was a break in service from the Navy Reserve, and she joined the Army Reserve in 1990 until 1992. And we'll discuss her time in the reserves as well. So a few things I also want to mention, because I think this is worth celebrating. So not only did Nick serve quite a long time in the military, but he has had a different type of service in marriage to Carrie. 43 years of service in marriage. Hope you don't mind me characterizing that way. But 43 years of marriage, so congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
You guys were married April 1982.
Correct.
That's really fantastic. Yeah. So congratulations.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And we've already talked about your daughter. You and her shared some time on the silver screen. Candace got on the silver screen for Angels in the Outfield. It's fantastic. Okay, another thing I want to mention is Nick's name situation, which I find interesting. So Nick was born Emmett Lyle Schwartzkopf. For a time, he was also known as Brain by your brothers. Is that right? And your dad?
Yeah.
So he's had a nickname Brain. He also has the nickname Nick Mon. And we'll get into that later because I don't want to skip ahead too much. But that comes up later when he's in the Navy. Nick Mon. We'll discuss that. But let's start off with Chief Warrant Officer Schwartzkopf. I want to get into your family, Nick, because I find this pretty interesting. Your grandfather was a missionary in China.
That's correct.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I really I don't know a whole bunch about that experience that he had, but my father was born over in China, in Hankou, China. Like I said, I don't know. Hankou, you won't find that on the map anymore, but after Mao, he changed a lot of names.
Was your grandfather a successful missionary?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He was successful. He actually had to leave there early because he got some intestinal infection that bothered him for the rest of his life. But outside of that, yeah, he was a very welcomed missionary over there.
Do you think that influenced your dad? What I mean by that is, do you think that allowed for your father to have more ease in terms of being a military career man with traveling so much?
I believe so. My father joined the Air Force when it was Army Air Corps, and almost
right.
immediately went into the Air Force.
Yeah.
And
It's around like 48 or so, 49, something
right,
like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was an Air Force chaplain.
Interesting. So he kind of followed his father's footsteps in terms of that religious path.
Yes, he did. And two of his brothers
Wow.
also went into that.
You were going to say, I didn't mean to interrupt, but so he became a chaplain in the Air Force?
Yeah, and he was his first assignment was to go over to Japan during Reconstruction, and he stayed over there for a while, and eventually we, the ones of us that were born at the time, we got lots of kids in our family. We went over and got on a troop ship, the USS Mitchell, and went from Treasure Island in California over to Japan. Stayed
Wow.
there for a couple of years.
So you and your dad sort of had similar experiences, these foreign experiences very early on in life.
Yeah, and I think I got the bug then.
Yeah.
How many kids were there at the time you guys traveled on the troop ship? Because there's 9 of you, right?
Right, there were 6.
6, okay.
The baby was just hardly, not even a year old.
That's another thing I forgot. They both come from large families.
Uh-huh.
Another similarity you guys have.
Yeah.
And the additional similarity, we'll kind of bounce around a little bit because I like this comparison between Nick and Carrie's family. Carrie's father was a merchant marine, which you don't hear very often. And funny enough, Jason and Jim were fortunate enough to interview a merchant marine. I can't remember the gentleman's name at this time. But if you would, Carrie, tell us a little bit about your dad and his service as a merchant marine.
The only thing I can remember, actually several, he would tell a lot of stories about being on the lakes and going through strange fog. His compass would be spinning, or the ship's compass.
Yeah.
And I would just sit there mesmerized, and maybe that was part of me wanting to be out at sea and adventure. But the one thing I remember, I was very small. I was maybe 5, just looking up and seeing his peacoat and playing with one of the buttons in the anchor. And I remember just putting my finger on the anchor and following it, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And his Dixie cup hat.
Uh-huh. What a memory to have.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I remember he did drink a lot. But the one thing I remember, him wearing his uniform, and he was talking to his mother, my grandmother, and both of them actually spoke Gaelic. And I was just standing there watching, playing with his button.
So your father was first generation American.
Correct.
Okay.
They moved to Windsor, Canada, and then they came down to Detroit.
Yeah, just outside of Toronto, right? Windsor.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that's mainly what I remember. But as I got older, I remember sitting in the backyard with him. He would tell stories. And one of the things that I like to do too is look at the history of the Edmund Fitzgerald, because he
Sure.
spoke of that. And
Interesting.
Historic.
That's right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
And-
he was based on the lakes as a merchant marine.
correct.
So he would have been pretty intimately aware of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he said the lakes, like Lake Superior, is not forgiving,
Yeah.
especially when the
During the winter months.
November, yeah.
Yeah.
The
People don't
gales.
understand how, when they think lake, they think that they're going on a ski boat. That kind of lake's a little bit different.
Massive.
Massive.
It's like the ocean. You can't see the end.
Yeah.
In fact, all of them, except maybe, I don't know, Lake Erie you might be able to, but I know Lake Michigan, Lake Superior,
Sure.
Lake Ontario, they're pretty massive.
Yeah.
But he spoke a lot of Lake Superior because where they would be hauling iron ore, which came from Michigan,
Yeah.
and he said he would be going through the straits, and he had so many stories about Lake Superior and strange things happening. But I think just him, he loved the sea. Well, he'd call it the sea because it was like a sea. He
Yeah.
just loved being out there, and I believe that's what sparked me.
That's
One
really
of the things,
fascinating.
yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning this because, and I wish I could remember the gentleman's name. Jason, if you can, please help me out. But just momentarily, Carrie, help our audience understand what it means to be a merchant marine and merchant mariners, because it's a bit of an odd. I've always kind of wondered, is it considered technically military, or is it military adjacent?
The way I always understood it, it's military adjacent, and the president has the authority to activate the merchant marines
Gotcha.
during wartime. And my father did join. I wish I brought the picture. He had his uniform on,
Yeah,
Cracker Jacks, the solid black, the working
Sure.
Cracker Jacks,
sure.
with a buddy of his, a shipmate. And it was late 1940s.
Okay.
But the merchant marines, they're the ones that are responsible. They're like the trucks of the sea.
Sure. Yeah.
And one of the reasons the president can activate the merchant marines as well is they're the ones that were responsible for getting tanks, aircraft overseas.
That's right.
To a certain point, they would have to, I don't know how far they went, but they were big in keeping the logistics train going.
Sure. And transport.
Yeah.
Charles Hoffman. Thank you, Jason. Charles Hoffman was the gentleman that Jason and Jim were fortunate enough to speak to, who was a merchant marine, merchant mariner.
And Ethan, this is an interesting tidbit. I think it's important since we're talking about it. It says that merchant marine sailors were dying months before America entered World War II. During the war, 733 American cargo ships were lost. There were 243,000 mariners who served and 9,521 perishing while serving. Roughly 4% of those who served were killed, and this was a higher casualty rate than any of the American military branches during World War II. When they enlisted, they were promised all the benefits of the other military branches, but the reality was that the mariners received no government benefits, paid income taxes, and earned money only when their ships were at sea. And when they returned to civilian status, they were denied a lifetime of military benefits, including health care, money for college, and low-interest loans. Merchant marine seamen possessed an unusual variety of courage and gave their lives for their country as valiantly as those in the armed forces did without benefits.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Can you recall any issues like that with your father, not having the benefits, if he had been in military?
I remember him talking about that, and he, not getting too personal, but he became a very pretty violent drunk. And I remember he would talk some about that.
Yeah. He felt disgruntled, I'm guessing, and kind of gypped.
There were other things that attributed to his drinking, but he felt the government didn't support him.
Sure.
They didn't live up to their end of the deal.
Yeah.
Correct. Sort of like a house, and I have nothing to base this on, but how you hear some Vietnam vets
Sure.
say that the government didn't back them. And some veterans today, especially through the VA system, it's hard to get what you need.
You feel left out in the dark.
Yeah, and my father said that a lot. Why did I do this?
Wow.
You know,
Do you think he regretted his service?
no, he never did.
Okay.
He loved being out there. It's just I could see that he needed help. And
Sure.
there was nothing to give. Nobody was giving it.
Wow.
So
I'm sorry to hear that was the experience that your dad had.
that's another reason I'm trying to start this support group.
Sure.
For
Yeah.
people that just need to talk and that, and
Sure.
because there's so many people that need somebody
Sounding
just
board.
to listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I know exactly
I
what you're talking
appreciate
about.
what you guys are doing too.
Oh, of course. And we want to talk more about that group that you're trying to start out in Glen Carbon. We'll discuss that more later.
Okay.
I want to go in just a few more things about Carrie's life, and then we're going to hop back to Nick, because we're going to bleed that right into when he started in the Marines. So there's a few things, Carrie, about your life that I think give us a great opportunity to educate our audience about American history. This is something I was not very familiar with or well educated about. 1967 Detroit riots. Funny enough, you mentioned the Edmund Fitzgerald and Gordon Lightfoot. He's going to be brought up again. Black Day in July is a song written by Gordon Lightfoot, and it's about the Detroit riots. One of the lyrics is Motor City Madness, which I think just the rhythm and rhyme of that lyric really brings to the forefront just what was going on there. It was madness.
Mm-hmm.
The governor of the state of Michigan at that point, oddly enough, Governor George Romney, Mitt Romney's father, he sent in the National Guard to quell the riots. And President Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ, strangely enough, he sent in the 82nd, my old unit, and the 101st Airborne Divisions to help quell the riots. So, with all that as background, I'm really curious, Carrie, to hear your perspective. What do you remember about the riots of 1967?
That year I was 6, but I remember everybody being extremely scared, on edge. And this was actually a bad time for my family as well, because my dad lost his job. And we were forced to move from a very affluent
Sure.
neighborhood and affluent life. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But to a very poor neighborhood, predominantly black. Actually, I know it was pretty much all black because we were the only whites. And part of it was, I just remember personally our house being victimized and people yelling, "Crackers, get out," stuff like that. But as I got older, we had Detroit had curfews from that point on. 9 p.m. we had to at least be on our front porch.
Yeah.
And police would go around and make sure kids were on their front porch. But I remember I was sort of in a gang, mainly keeping myself safe.
Sure.
And you learn how to get around the streets and that, because growing up, I witnessed murders.
Yeah.
And that,
Wow.
couple being killed in their bathtub down the street from us.
Oh, my gosh.
Lady getting her head blown off across the street.
Those are like
drug
unprovoked
raids.
attacks,
Yeah.
just random attacks. Wow.
And it was normal. I mean, you don't really, you become desensitized, but you learn to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I was jumped a lot, bottles thrown. I had to go to summer school for my sister to protect her. And it was Redford High School. And people, they're like, no way. I say, yeah, this is Detroit. You have to remember, there was actually a small prison in the school. And you walk in, and lockers were torn down from the walls. And you didn't go to the bathroom because all the toilets were ripped up off the floor. And what I remember is having eyes around my head, just always looking around.
And swivel.
Yeah, and you never walk on the sidewalks. You walk in the middle of the street because there's 100 ways you can escape in the middle of the street as opposed to a sidewalk.
Yeah.
And you learn that.
Yeah.
But there were fights all the time. I remember the police just driving by because there were too many fights. And where I went, we were pretty poor, so a pastor paid our way. We went to Lutheran High School West, which isn't there anymore. I believe it's a charter school, and my grade school isn't there anymore. It's a charter school. But like I was saying, we had a really good football team, and we would beat Cass Tech and Cody Tech, which were in bad areas, all black.
Yeah.
And they would riot coming to our school. And you could see in the distance there were fires, cars pushed over, and they didn't care what car it was. If it was a police car, they'd do the same, push it over. They didn't care. Yeah. And the police were around our school, and they said if you live towards the rioting, you stay in the school. If you live the other way, get on a bus or however and go. Yeah. And but I don't know how they did. Since there were police around the school, a couple of the girls in the school got raped.
Wow. They breached it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just remember I had to take care of my younger brother and sister, and it was difficult.
Yeah.
And just always, I would get beat up a lot because I would tell them to run home, just run, and I would take the brunt of it.
Serve as kind of the wall for them to escape.
But it was like that. Some people don't understand. And now though, Detroit is a beautiful city. They've really turned it around. The mayor is outstanding. But
you guys had to live in fear, but you had to live with fear.
Yeah, and so it was just you learn to live that way.
Yeah.
And at the same time that was going on, I remember seeing hippies, peace, love, not war, stuff like that. So at that time, Detroit was a very turbulent city.
Yeah.
And turbulent is a nice word.
Yeah, that is a strange confluence. I hadn't even thought about that until you mentioned it, Carrie. 67. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sort of have that peace, love movement going on around that time.
Right.
And yet, at the same time, you have this tremendously violent riot going on in one of America's major cities.
Yeah. But, hey, we all survived. All my brothers and sisters are doing pretty well. And but I knew for several reasons, it was even before freshman, when I became a freshman, I needed to get out, and I wanted to join the Navy. I knew I was going to do that.
Yeah, and we're going to come back to that because something that I've heard you say before was you joined the Navy for two reasons. You joined it for adventure, but you also joined it because your family was in turmoil and you needed an escape.
Yeah.
So we're going to come back to that. I want to go back to Nick. I mentioned that one of Nick's nicknames from his family was Brain. And the reason for that, because I know the story, the reason for that was because his father saw him as the one with the most promise in terms of education and a future.
Yeah.
So I say that because the next thing I want to say is such a funny dichotomy. Later on, when Nick reaches the age of 18, something he thought to himself was the draft was going on. The lottery draft was still occurring. Vietnam was still raging. And Nick thought to himself, I didn't want the Army to get me, so I joined the Marines instead.
Nice. Yeah, I did hear that.
Which I think is such a funny way of thinking about it. I think most people would say, avoid the Marines. Nope. Nick said, take me there. Let's go to the Marines. So if you would, Nick, tell us a little bit about, because I understand your dad did not like the fact that you joined because he saw you as the brains of the operation of the family. So tell us about that, the struggle and the tension of joining when your dad didn't want you to.
Yeah, my life back in 1967 was totally different from Carrie's. I was in St. Louis, going to a Lutheran high, graduated in 67. Things were a little turbulent downtown St. Louis at the time, but mostly I was sheltered from that. The thing that really got me into the military, even after my father had made arrangements for me to go to college, he had talked to a college that he wanted me to go to, and I came to him and I told him I didn't want to go. I was burned out. I was just had enough high school. I wanted a break from all of that brain numbing classroom stuff. So I went down the Air Force recruiter first because my father was in the Air Force. My two older brothers had been had joined the Air Force, but at the time, the Air Force didn't need anybody, and they said it would be at least a year before I'd be able to get in. So I went from there. I called the Navy recruiter, and he was out of the office. And the Marine recruiter answered and said, hey, if you come down at this set time, and he'll be here. Well, he wasn't. The Navy recruiter was just happened to be out of the office for the day. Yeah. And the Marine talked me into joining the Marine Corps.
Right there on the spot.
Nice.
On the spot, yeah. So, yeah, that's how I got in the Marines.
I want to make sure I'm characterizing this correctly. So part of your motivation not only was to just get out of St. Louis and see something different and get a new environment, but wasn't it also to make your own determination in terms of that draft coming up potentially for you?
Yeah, I was not, I saw myself, if I went into the Army at that time, I would be at the front of the lines in Vietnam, and I didn't feel like that would be a very good thing for me because I was too smart to be one of those riflemen.
Sure.
I thought I could.
You had potential for something greater.
Right. And why I picked the Marine Corps instead, honestly thought that if I'm going to be going to Vietnam, I'm at least going to be taught how to do my job and protect myself. Yeah. And I didn't think the Army would do that for me.
Did you ever think about taking the officer route?
I honestly, I took the test to see how smart I was. And the test told that recruiter that I was indeed smart enough at that time to be an officer. But I didn't want to be an officer because I knew I would be going to more schools. And I didn't want to, I was burned out of going to classes all the time.
So what I'm hearing from you is you wanted to be in the action, not in the school.
That's right.
And the Marines, not the Army.
Exactly.
Okay, so you got a pretty good deal, Nick. You got to become a Hollywood Marine. Yep. I hear that they issue you guys
sunglasses.
Sunglasses, yeah. So tell us what it means to be a Hollywood Marine.
Yeah, the Mississippi River splits the United States. If you're on the west side of the Mississippi, you go to San Diego. If you go on the east side, you go to Parris Island. And I was just a couple of miles away from going to
just
Parris
made the
Island.
cut.
Yeah.
So that's down in San Diego.
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience. If I recall correctly, there are 2 drill instructors that you remember, one of whom you remember the name of, that's Corporal Chavez. The other of whom you do not remember his name, and that's because you hated his guts. So tell us about them.
Yeah, I made a mistake one day, and I laughed at something that I thought he said that was funny, and that was my mistake. And he came up to me and grabbed me by the neck and lifted me onto my toes, not totally off of my feet, but onto my toes.
Enough to make a point.
Right, to let me know that he was not trying to be funny. Yeah.
Can you recall at all, I'm just really curious, what he said or the context of what he said that made you laugh?
I wish I could.
I wonder what it was that he said.
No. I met him up later on at one of my duty stations, and I didn't like him then either. He was an egotist,
Gotcha.
very big egotist, and liked to talk down to a lot of little people like me.
He was low on the brain spectrum.
Well, speaking of being low, this is just a funny little anecdote that I've heard you tell before, Nick. Tell us about Corporal Chavez and his issues with height.
Yeah, so he was a good drill instructor. He was a really good instructor. He when he came to you to talk to you, the bill of his cap would come to right at the end of your nose. And
very intimidating.
You knew he could hurt you, but I think there were rules against that.
Yeah, small but mighty.
Yeah, but yeah, it was when he would find someone to yell at, he would get right to the tip of their nose with the bill of his cap to let you know that he was there.
Did you take to basic training well?
I did my best to be a ghost. I did my best to hide from the drill instructors. If I did something, it was very quietly, very obedient, just because I knew that that's the easiest way to get through.
Yeah.
Did you find that mirroring anything from your childhood, the way you grew up with the 8 siblings, and having to blend in like that? And
yeah, I think today I would tend to be the quieter of the people. I don't mind telling people sea stories or anything that from my experience, but I'm not the one to open up the conversation. And I'll sit at a table full of people who are laughing and telling their stories, and I'll just be listening. And I think part of that also came from my father, who would prefer us to be quiet. And even at the dinner table, we were not talking to each other.
Seen but not heard.
Right.
That kind of culture in the house.
Yeah. Answer when you're asked a question, but otherwise just be there.
This might sound like a silly question, but did you address your father as sir? Did he keep that tight of a ship in the household?
He was a workaholic.
Uh-huh.
We didn't see him a whole lot. My mom, I mean, she was an angel. I mean, she had to be because with 9 kids to raise, she had to corral us all and keep us from destroying the house and make us do our chores on time. And I can't remember calling him sir. I know when we answered the phone, it was Chaplain Schwartzkopf's quarters. You know.
How about that?
Outside.
that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm curious, whenever Jason and I get the opportunity to highlight military spouses, I'd love to do that because I think it's important. If you wouldn't mind, you just mentioned your mom, and I'm glad you did. Did your mom know what she was signing up for when she married your dad? Was he already in, or was that something that happened after they got married?
She was married pretty young age. She was like 16.
Wow.
And he was a fresh out of college, smart preacher.
Yeah.
She was raised in an orphanage.
Wow.
So I don't think she had a clue what it would be, what
that
her life would be.
Yeah. But she sounds like she took to it well. Or at least she led the household well for you guys, at the very least.
For the majority of my life, yeah.
Yeah.
Things started to fall apart when I was about 16, I guess. My father was stressed out because he was in the Air Force. When he got out of the Air Force, he had a hard time with 9 kids to find a place, a church that wanted to hire a preacher with 9 kids.
Sure.
And so that was emotionally stressful on him. Although he did get some jobs working at the retirement communities in St. Louis.
He served as a chaplain at those communities?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lutheran Altenheim and up by the Chain of Rocks Bridge.
Oh, sure.
And another one down South County. I can't remember where that was, but that's what he did. He was in the Air Force Reserves also, and he was an Air Force district chaplain for a while.
And that was after he got out of active duty. He went straight to the reserves?
Yeah.
Was your mother a homemaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And because he wasn't making a whole lot of money and a whole bunch of kids, the reason I went to Lutheran High was because my dad was a preacher. So we went to Lutheran schools basically because he was a preacher.
Sure.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to afford it.
It was discounted.
Right.
I see. He was essentially on the staff. Is that how they considered it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my mom would take in laundry from, there's some people that worked at Boeing, want their clothes ironed, so she took in ironing and would do that, to the point where the kids, if we wanted ironed clothes, she said, do it. And that was pretty much how things were. Yeah, she would do laundry and ironing for people to raise extra money. As a matter of fact, one thing that I don't think a whole lot of people know about me is I was selling Fuller brush door to door when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, to raise additional extra money just for me, spending money.
Yeah. What were your parents' names, Nick?
My dad's Elmer.
Elmer.
Yeah.
You don't hear that very often anymore.
Yeah.
What was your mother's name?
Dolores.
Dolores. Okay. Did she go by DD?
D.
Oh, she went by D. I had a great aunt that named Dolores. She went by DD, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah.
That actually is a good segue, and I hope you don't mind that I'm making this segue, Nick. It's a good segue because we're going to head back to Carrie's life before joining the Navy, because Nick just referenced, there were some stressors in the family dynamic and things going on with his dad. Carrie was also trying to escape some family turmoil, which is part of the reason that led her to join the Navy. Tell us what was going on there before you joined.
Well, the downfall happened when my dad lost his job, very lucrative job. He was a white-collar executive. Yeah. And this will help, but he was cheating on my mom.
I see.
And he, I don't know exactly what happened, but he lost his job, and then we moved to Plainview. It was so small, the 4 girls, because the 5th, who we adopted by love, she was in college. The 4 girls lived upstairs in the attic, and the 2 boys lived downstairs in one of the bedrooms, and my mom and dad had the other. It's a very small house.
Yeah, it sounds like it. My gosh.
Yeah, it was, there were a lot of crazy times and that.
Sure.
But
you probably bonded with your siblings over some of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mom, she worked 2-3 jobs sometimes because my dad drank a lot. And he did work, but a lot of times his check would be gone because drinking.
He just used it all up.
Yeah, and I remember many times we would be sleeping with our coats and hats and mittens when it was cold in the winter.
Couldn't afford
No
the heat.
heat,
Yeah.
no electricity. Yeah, it was. So in a way, yeah, my brothers and sisters, we bonded. In fact, even to this day, we say the Ayers clan takes care of its own.
Yeah.
And we're strong that way.
Yeah.
But I just remember not wanting to live this way
Sure.
anymore. And I escaped while I was living there, going outside. Some of these younger kids started following me around. It was sort of a gang. I carried a knife, and one good thing about Detroit is you'd scrounge for bottles and that, and you could cash them in to get
Sure,
change.
deposits, yeah.
And instead of going home, we'd go to the candy store and get a whole bunch of candy with the change we got. So that sustained us. So
It sounds like you were
times.
kind of left to your own devices a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because my mom worked so much,
Sure.
she saw that I was taking care of Lori and Colin, who were the two youngest. I was the oldest of the three little guys.
Yeah.
And I just remember, well, you do it. She was, you do
Sure.
it then, and I'm like,
She trusted you.
yeah.
That's what
yeah,
that indicates to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was good. It's just I always say, well, who's going to take care of me?
Sure.
Who's going to protect me?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I got street smarts and stuff, and just made sure Lori and Colin were okay.
Yeah.
Never got in any trouble. And that.
Something I forgot to mention, a difference between one of several differences between your family lives. Nick, your two older brothers were Vietnam veterans.
Yep.
But Carrie, not a single sibling of yours joined.
No.
You're the only one in the family.
I was the only one.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason, too, I was the most athletic. I was in sports and that.
Yeah.
And I mainly did sports, too, to escape, because I did not want to go home that much. And I did a lot of things just to keep myself busy.
Yeah.
And I just remember running. I love track. I love football, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I knew before, like I said, before freshman year, I wanted to join the Navy. And I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to get there.
Oh, wow. You set that goal as a freshman in high school.
Before freshman, yeah.
Wow. What do you remember about the process of setting that goal before you hit freshman year? So you're what? You're a 14-year-old and you're deciding you want to join the Navy.
Yeah.
What was your thought process?
Well, there was a lot of, mainly I didn't want to get beat up anymore.
Okay.
Also abused too at home.
Sure.
In various ways.
So similar, Nick had mentioned he felt the Marines would help him learn how to protect himself and defend himself. It almost sounds like it's kind of similar for you, but in a different way.
Yeah. I just said this to a friend of mine. I don't have a lot of friends, and it takes me a long time to get to know somebody like Nick. I'll sit in a room and watch people. I'm not one to initiate a conversation. If you talk to me and say we start getting to know each other, maybe I'll open up.
Sure.
This one friend, she's pretty much the only one that I've opened up to her. But I said the military was like a security blanket for me. Yeah. And they taught me everything I know.
Wow.
Not home. I was so naive when I joined. And I was street smart.
Yeah.
But I was naive in so many things.
Did the military become like a surrogate family to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there were things that happened to me in the military as well. But me, I always look for the positive, even in the darkest.
Sure.
There's got to be a way out. There's got to be.
There's light there somewhere.
Yeah. And I always searched for that.
Yeah.
And so that kept me motivated to reach my goal.
I really commend you for that. That's a really fantastic.
Absolutely.
I can't think of another guest that we've had, and maybe they just didn't express it to us, but no one else that I can recall has said that after 8th grade, before they're even in high school, they've made this decision that they want to join. That's really incredible, Carrie.
And not many kids have to think about sending their siblings home so that they could take the brunt of something else and then wonder where they're going to be warm at night. I mean, that's a really tough childhood to grow up in.
It builds character.
It builds character, and that's a pretty tough way to start out.
Yeah. Now, speaking of, you mentioned, I don't mean to make light of it, but you had mentioned during the winter not having heat, putting on multiple layers. Mm-hmm. Well, the good thing is after you joined the Navy, you didn't have to worry about that because you were sent down to Orlando.
That's right.
As warm as it gets.
That's right. It was my first flight and the first state I ever
How about that?
to.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
It was exciting.
Yeah.
I was actually extremely happy. My mom, she was hesitant, and my brothers and sisters, they were all saying, "How could you do this? How could you do this?" And I was like, "I'm ready to go. I don't need you guys." Bye.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
I
the
was
door.
like,
Was it an easy transition, or was it a big culture shock?
No, for me, it was very easy because I was already very physically fit. And so boot camp was a breeze. In fact, I became an honor guard, and I helped. When you're in a company, in Orlando, we had the grinder. It's a huge concrete area, and
Like a drill pad.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they said the water tower was doorknob to hell, and so we're grinding in hell. But I was an excellent runner. I was on track, so I ran long distance in that. And they had 2 of us in the back of the company and 2 of us in the front, and we helped keep the company together. So I did that as well, and I thrived in it. Whatever they gave me, I was like, yeah, give it to me. I'll do it.
Sounds like you liked the structure and the order of things.
Yes, I believe I needed that.
Interesting.
Because I didn't really have it growing up.
Oh, that's right. You had said that the military kind of taught you some of those skills.
They taught me everything, yeah.
I'm really curious about this. So, funny enough, Nick had already mentioned the drill instructor that shall not be named who took him by the neck. You have a similar kind of experience, something that you don't hear of anymore for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. I'd love for you to tell us about blanket parties.
Okay.
This is stuff you see in the movies,
Yeah, that was interesting. Well, in boot camp, and Nick knows this, when you come in, everybody's an individual. And the goal of boot camp is to break you down as an individual and build you up as a team. And this one girl, it was all about her. I don't know, I didn't really get to know her. But to me, because it was all about her, I thought, personally, she was a spoiled brat. She got everything she wanted. And she had that air about her.
Sure.
She would tattle on people, go to the company commander, and they're doing this, they're doing that. And a lot of the girls were getting really frustrated in that. Like Nick, I sort of wanted to be a ghost, but it didn't work out because they saw how I was very physically fit. I lifted weights and that. And
you sound motivated as well.
Yeah.
And they can sense that in recruits.
And both company commanders pulled me aside. Actually, 4 of us. 5 of us. Yep. I'm thinking of the blanket party. There was 5 of us. And she explained the blanket party and to do it on this one individual. And she goes, I don't want to know anything about it. Don't tell me, just do it and go back to your post. And this was at night as everybody was getting in their bunks. Well, just before this individual got in her bunk, we pulled her aside and we were just like talking. And the one girl had the blanket, and we were standing to force the girl looking away from the blanket. And as she did, the one girl covered her with a blanket. We jumped on top of her, and 3 of them, we had socks with soap. and we were wailing on her, just beating the living daylights out of her. Well, 2 of us were holding her down, and 3 were, beating on her.
She had to be screaming bloody murder. My gosh.
And the company commanders actually said to the other recruits, "This is going to happen tonight. Do not do anything."
Yeah.
I found that out after.
Wow.
Because I was like,
It was all orchestrated.
Correct.
Wow.
And the next day, well, of course, she was crying, whimpering, and we all left. The next day, we saw her. She runs to the company commander's office and says, "Look, look." And she had massive bruises all over.
Yeah.
And the company commander was like, "I don't see anything." And she goes, "But look." "I don't see anything, recruit," and more stern. She goes, "Go back to your post."
Yeah.
And she was straightened up.
Didn't make a peep after that.
No.
No more tattletaling.
And she became part of the team. In fact, there was this is another story in boot camp, similar. I went in. Do you guys remember when teenagers who got in trouble, they said it's either jail or military?
Sure. Yeah.
That was in the 80s, late 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, which I'm glad. We had one of those individuals. And when we became a company, the first night we got into our barracks, we're standing at attention, and the company commanders are going back, and, "You're worthless. You're not even gum on the bottom of our boot," stuff like that.
Yeah.
You got to work up to that, stuff like that. And this girl, she said something. She goes, "You can't do that. You can't say that to me." And they're like, "What? What recruit?" And we're all standing at attention, and you're looking straight ahead,
Yeah.
but some of us are like looking
Trying to see out of the
trying
corner of
to
your eye.
see.
Yeah.
And this girl, she goes, "You can't do that. You can't touch me." And all of a sudden, we heard this door open, and you heard this thud down the steps.
Oh, my gosh.
And apparently, she fell, and we didn't see her the rest of the time.
Wow.
So I don't know what
Oops.
happened to her.
They took,
Yeah.
Oops.
they took care of her real quick.
Wow.
Jail.
She wanted to go back to jail after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the hospital.
obviously.
Yeah, that was an interesting time, jail or the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had a few other guests that have told us about that. And there's only been one other guest who had a specific story about an individual who chose the military route as opposed to the jail route. But the blanket party thing, let me just sit on this just for a little bit longer because...
No pun intended.
Yeah. That's a really interesting time, I think, in the recruit stage of our military's history. And, those are stories that you hear about now, like your story. And those are things that you see in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Very commonly now you'll hear veterans say, well, back in my day, they could hit you.
Right.
They could discipline you physically. Do you think things like blanket parties and the threat of your drill instructor actually wailing on you helped build that team aspect, or were there negatives to it?
Personally, I believe it helped, because after that day, I believe our company became a team really quick.
Yeah.
In fact, our company won the Commander's Award of Excellence. We were we were the best, actually, out of the females.
Yeah. And that included that individual who had...
That included that
Okay,
individual.
wow. So she straightened up right
Yeah.
away.
She straightened up pretty quick.
And it sort of helped the entire company, it sounds like.
Right, because
Wow.
they knew what was going on, and they knew if we don't straighten up and become a team, that's
Yeah.
going to happen to us.
That's us next.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I believe it helped.
That's really
And
fascinating.
opened up everybody's eyes. Like, you know what? We're in the Navy now. They're not playing games.
This is real. So let's
Correct.
head back to Nick, because if I do this right, we're going to pair you guys up right when you're both at Oceana and you guys meet. So let's see how good I am at this timeline. But
Look at my timeline.
okay, so going back to Nick, you complete boot camp, and your first duty station. If I understand your story correctly, your first duty station is also where you became an instructor. Am I getting that right?
At 2 different times.
2 different times. Okay, so you came back as an instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for correcting me. So tell us about your first duty station.
Well, my first place I went to was in Memphis. Went to Memphis to learn my rate.
That's right. Okay.
And I didn't even have a rate at the time. We went there and did tests. They took different tests, and then they would place you. I remember I first off said I want to be a jet engine mechanic. And my second choice was to be hydraulics mechanic, because I had joined an aviation guaranteed program, which I was really pleased to hear that I could do that.
So what did that mean from your perspective? That meant that anything within the aviation field was open to you, or it was only a few specific things?
No, it was all pretty much open to me.
Okay.
They said whatever I could qualify for.
Gotcha.
I had to pass these tests, and what I could qualify for, they would put me into. And if I wasn't smart enough to be a electrician, then they would make me an ordnanceman or something
Gotcha.
like that. Yeah.
Why did aviation interest you?
Because I thought I'd be moving around,
Yeah.
and I knew I wasn't going to be infantry.
Sure.
Because I didn't especially want to be infantry if I didn't have to be.
Yeah. The opportunities seemed greater in the aviation field.
Yeah. The recruiters would sell you on that,
Sure.
saying that, you're going to learn a trade that you'll be able to take with you when you leave the military. And that sounded like a good deal to me at the time, too.
And not to jump forward too much, but it's interesting hearing you say that about why you were interested in the aviation field. If I understand correctly, it is because of the specific aircraft that you were trained on that you didn't get sent to Vietnam.
That's right.
How fascinating is that? Okay, so we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So you go to Memphis
Went to
for your
Memphis.
training. Okay.
Yep. And I took some tests, and like I said, I wanted to be a jet engine mech. And they said, no, I'm not going to, they don't need any right now.
Yeah.
And I had really good test scores. And so I went and did some tests for electronics, and I did really good on those tests for electronics. And so I said I want to be an AE, an aviation electrician, and then I wanted to do some work with some like classified equipment and stuff
Sure.
like that. And they said, no, that's we want you to be a fire control technician, aviation fire control. Fire control, when they first mentioned that, I thought, well, I don't want to put out fires. And then they said, no, you're going to be fixing radars. And I said, okay, aviation radars. And that sounded really neat, and I did pretty good on the tests. And at pretty much close to the end of my second year, I mean, I was already in 2 years into my service when I got through that school. I went to Cherry Point, North Carolina.
Sure. Yeah.
Went there, did a little bit, about 6 months of training.
That was specialized training.
Specialized training. I was working in a squadron. They were on the F-4B type radar systems, and I worked on that. And I learned how to do supply part ordering and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I took my little handwritten notes. Back in the day, you would get a little handheld 3-ring binder.
Sure.
You would just write notes on this. These are the steps to do these tests. Totally illegal now. Yeah, but that was the first thing I did was copy somebody else's notes down so I could go and do a test of the radar.
Hey, they called you brains for a reason.
Yeah. So I did that, and then they sent me to El Toro to learn the specific radar system, and I went back to Cherry Point. Fixed one airplane that they had. The Marines got it before the Navy did.
Sure.
And I troubleshot it down to a relay on the radar system. Got the airplane fixed real fast.
You knew you had a knack for it right away.
Yeah, I was picking it up pretty fast.
Yeah.
So they sent me to Kaneohe, Hawaii. Did 2 years in Kaneohe.
Okay, so this is the point So I'm kind of curious, why would the Marines train you on an aircraft that they were phasing out?
Just because they didn't, when I first got to Cherry Point, they didn't have the new airplane.
Gotcha.
This was so brand new of
an
airplane. I went to school to learn the new airplane, and when I got back, they had their first one.
I see.
And we ran a bit check on it, built-in test check on it, and had a small failure. We troubleshot it down to a little relay and fixed it and sent it out.
So tell us about the conversation you had where you offered to re-sign if they would send you to Nam.
That's right. I was in Hawaii. The staff sergeant, whose name I can't remember, asked me if I was going to re-enlist. I said, I'll re-enlist if you send me to Nam, if they will send me to Nam. And I guess he must have checked into it, and they said, no, they're not. That airplane's not over there, so you're not going.
Wow.
And so I said, well, then I'm not re-enlisting. So
it's kind of crazy. Nick had this experience. The Air Force said we're not recruiting. This was 1967.
Yeah.
Which is very
It's
interesting.
insane to me. Vietnam is the throes of Vietnam. So the Air Force says we're not recruiting. The Navy guy didn't even show up to work that day. And then a few years down the road, the Marines refused to send a willing Marine to the war front. That seems crazy to me.
The issue from my perspective is why the Air Force didn't want, because they weren't recruiting. It's because everybody wanted in the Air Force. They didn't want to go in the Army.
I see.
I gotcha.
Right.
They were trying to push people, so to speak, into the other branches.
They had a
Right.
surplus in the Air Force. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you spend 2 years in Hawaii. I think I had a note about that I wanted to make. Oh, that's right.
You're a stamp collector, right?
Yes, this is what I wanted to say. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. So, something I thought was funny that I heard you say in the VHP interview. So once you found out that Vietnam wasn't going to happen and you were going to be there in Hawaii for the remainder of your contract, something I heard you say was the Marines didn't pay me enough to be a tourist in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So that's when you kept to your room and your stamp collection. Tell us about your time in Hawaii.
That's true. In Hawaii, I was there 2 years, and I did a lot of partying downtown Honolulu, and
Until the money ran out.
Until the money ran out, and the money ran out pretty fast.
I'm sure it did.
Because I was competing against tourists for the bars that I would attend. I at almost 1 year in, I started thinking, well, I can't do this forever. I mean, ended up having to stay in the barracks because I didn't have any money to go out anymore and do anything. So I just decided, well, I need to have at least something to do, a hobby. So I started collecting stamps, and I have, to this day, I have a really nice stamp collection that I haven't touched in I don't know how many years.
That's got to be worth something.
Oh, I'm sure
My
it
goodness.
is. Yeah, I got a couple of stamps with swastikas on them.
Oh, interesting.
Wow. Like genuine, like Nazi Germany stamps.
Yeah, like when they Czechoslovakia was taken over by the Germans, they would put a stamp, swastika on the stamp to say it was a legal stamp now.
Oh my gosh, that's definitely worth something.
How did you come across some of these stamps? And did you have to hunt them down, or?
I bought them in bulk.
Okay.
You go to a stamp collector store, and they've got packages with just miscellaneous stamps from all over the place.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So you take a year break. You didn't know it at the time. You got out of the Marines.
Yep.
And after a while, kind of like with your realization of Hawaii and the spending of the money, after a while, this is what I quoted you as saying, Nick. I tried being a civilian for a year, but it didn't take, which I love.
Yeah.
So what was it about returning to civilian life that didn't fit you?
I was thinking, I tried to find a good paying job, something that I could enjoy doing. I couldn't find the work. Vietnam was closing down. all those Vietnam veterans were taking all the jobs that there were. And I would walk around. I tried to get a job at, well, I did. I was like a rent-a-cop for now and then because I could shoot a pistol. And so I was qualified.
Yeah.
But I tried to find a job working in electronics. I walked into Boeing and told them, hey, I'm a veteran. I've worked on F-4s. They said, okay, thanks. Adios. I mean, they weren't hiring because they had all these Vietnam veterans,
Sure.
and they weren't hiring you unless you had a college degree anyway.
Sure.
And I didn't have a college degree. So I couldn't get a job at Boeing. I tried to get a job fixing Xerox machines, and no, I couldn't even get a job fixing Xerox machines. I was totally frustrated.
Yeah.
Did one semester at college to try and get a college degree so I could work at Boeing.
Sure.
My VA check didn't come in time for me to move on to a second semester. So that's when I started calling recruiters again.
Yeah. I have a question about Vietnam from your perspective. Jason and I have been fortunate enough to speak to a handful of Vietnam vets. I can't recall an individual, a guest that we've had on yet until now, who requested to go and that request was denied. So I'm sort of curious from your perspective, Nick, did that affect you once you got out of the Marines in terms of someone who had wanted to be there in the fight, but you didn't get to be?
When I told him I wasn't going to reenlist, I just gave it up. I didn't even think about going back into the military at all.
Yeah.
I
You thought you were done with it completely.
Yeah. I thought I was going to
Wow.
go ahead and into the civilian community and be a regular worker just like everybody else. But
Yeah.
So it was born out of a need, not really of wanting to do it again necessarily.
yeah,
So civilian life didn't take,
no.
and the school thing wasn't quite working out. But it sounds like that was because your check didn't come in from the GI Bill.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
interesting. If that check had come in and you had been able to pay for that next semester, do you think that would have changed the entire trajectory of the rest of your life?
I'm sure.
You would have stayed in school.
I'd have stayed in school,
Wow.
spent my VA money on my education.
Yeah.
And
Gotten that degree, gotten a job.
yeah, I think I would. By
Yeah.
that time, it would have been 4 years of civilian college.
Sure.
Got a degree. I'm sure I would have been
Gotten
able
used
to get
to
a good
it.
job.
That's fascinating. I guess we have the postman.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
man.
That's right. And
That's
this
the Postal Service to thank for that.
and this actually worked out really good for me.
So before we go into re-entering and joining the Navy, I am really curious because we talked about your dad and his disapproval of you joining. Where was that relationship with your father at that point in time, that break between service? Had he accepted it? Was he proud of you? What was it like?
I don't know if he was proud of me, but he did accept it. He accepted that I was in the military and I was doing my military service, and he was in Air Force Reserves too. So
He was still serving.
yeah,
Okay. Before we move on, I also want to mention your brothers. Can you just give us a very quick overview of your brothers' experiences in Vietnam?
yeah. I don't really know a whole lot about their experiences. My oldest brother worked in a fuel plant. And my next oldest brother worked as he was a security guard, and he worked in the motor transportation.
I just kind of put the pieces together just now. Were your two brothers examples of those guys who joined the Air Force to avoid the Army?
I believe,
So they took your spot.
yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
for that.
I mean, the draft was still going on for my oldest brother,
Yeah.
and pretty sure my other one just joined just because of the same reason I did.
Sure.
Wanted to go.
Yeah.
At the time, everybody in our family was thinking about going in the military.
Yeah. Well, I commend you and your brothers, Nick, for making that decision. And for whatever, whether it was to avoid this or that for your brothers, whatever it was, hey, they still served.
Yeah.
So we applaud that. Okay. So a year off, and you go back to the recruiter. What was that experience like?
I walked into the Navy recruiter and said, I'd like to join the Navy. I said, I know how to fix the OG-10 radar system. And he said, "Here, sign here."
That was easy.
Yeah, because it took them pretty much that long for the Navy to start getting that radar system, and it's not an easy system to learn. And I already knew it. I had gone to a lot of schools on that system and fixed those radar systems. So, I was a shoe-in.
And you streamlined the whole thing and was able to go right to that kind of rate of fixing those?
Yeah.
Nice.
I went right to Philadelphia, get my uniform, right to Oceana, to
Wow.
a squadron in Oceana, and started fixing airplanes.
Nice.
A good close friend of mine was in FRAMP, Fleet Readiness Squadron, at the same time, and that's where they send you before you get to your first squadron. He and I met there. We fixed their trainer that they had at that base because nobody else could fix it.
Wow. How about
and
that?
we fixed their trainer, and both of us went to our first squadron. Well, I went to my first squadron. He was already in for a while, and it was not his first squadron.
Did you pick it up pretty quickly?
It
all came right back to you?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it did. We, the two of us, my friend and I, Jay and I, were a team.
Yeah.
We told the maintenance chief, give us an airplane, and when it's available, not flying, and we'll fix it. Wow. And that's what we did. The first, this airplane was still new to the squadron, and those guys didn't have enough experience with that.
Yeah.
They could not keep those airplanes flying, radar systems up.
My gosh.
And so we were a team, and we would take
highly valuable
one,
team.
and we would fix it.
That's so crazy to me. You would think the Navy would have better foresight. Why do you think the Navy didn't prepare better to have the technicians and the know-how for those planes?
Well, I mean, it took me time in the Marine Corps to learn the radar system. So they were at that point.
They were just starting that point of the training. Yeah. I got you. You were just lucky to be there at the front end with the knowledge already.
Yeah, they were lucky to have me.
Perfect timing, yeah.
They were lucky to have you, that's right. Okay, I know this is kind of a forward-looking question, but I'm just curious because I'm looking at your dates of service once you joined the Navy, 72 to 99. That's just an incredible amount of time. Did you have any concept at all when that Navy recruiter said, sign here, that you're going to stay in as long as you did?
No.
What did you think?
I figured I would do actually, I was at my 7-year mark in the Navy, and I went down to the chapel on ship, and I prayed about it. Yeah. And I said, God, what do you want me to do here? I can get out and I can be a civilian, or I can stay in and keep going to sea with the Navy.
Yeah.
And at that particular time, I talked to the career counselor in the squadron. He told me if I re-enlisted, I would get a large re-enlistment bonus.
Yeah.
I said, sign me up.
Just as quick as that Navy recruiter said, sign here.
That's right.
And I love this. And Jason mentioned earlier, everything happens for a reason. That GI Bill check not coming in on time put you on this different trajectory than you had envisioned for yourself. And that bonus being available, if I'm doing my math right here, once you re-signed, it was only a matter of 3 years until you met Carrie.
Yep.
It's incredible. If that bonus hadn't been there, you probably would have never met Carrie.
True.
Yeah.
Wow. It is amazing how things happen like that.
And I had gone to instructor duty, instructor school in Memphis. So I was an instructor at Oceana. She was a non-designated airman at Oceana, working at the education place.
How about
Same
that?
place
Incredible.
And that just, the two of us
Yeah.
kind of got together just amazingly.
Yeah, and if your GI Bill came in, I would have never met you.
It never happened. You know, I think this is a good segue. Let's just go into Oceana and you guys meeting. There's something I want to ask about when you were a recruiter, but I'll ask it later if I remember, Nick. So, if I understand correctly, Carrie forced herself on you. That's how it went, right?
She did. Yeah.
It's the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed of that.
What's the story there? What happened?
She was very young in the Navy. I was a chief. She was a gopher.
No, you weren't a chief yet.
No, I was first class at the time.
Yeah.
And
Sailor of the Year.
Oh, very good. Okay.
She would
She was a gopher, so I want to hear about being a gopher because I think it's fun.
occasionally, we would need stuff brought to us.
Yeah.
She would go and get it and bring it to us.
Go for this. Go for that.
Yeah.
She saw a picture of me hanging on the wall at the school. I was the first shore sailor of the year at that command. And she saw my picture and decided she wanted to meet me.
Well, there's more to it than that.
That's how you remember it.
Yeah. So, I mean, she would let her tell.
That's
Oh, yeah,
the
let's hear
nice-
this part,
That's the
yeah.
nice. He's saying the nice version. No, when I walked across a quarterdeck, right into my first command, I'm looking around and I see his picture on the wall, and the first thing I thought of was, "Who's this goody two shoes?" Because I'm thinking, Sailor of the Year. What do you have to do to get Sailor of the Year? And I'm like, yeah, right, okay.
Brown nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And
But something was intriguing about him, all the same?
yeah, the one thing that gravitated me towards him
Yeah.
were his eyes. He has beautiful eyes. In one of the pictures, his younger picture, he looks just like James Dean.
Oh, cool.
And our daughter says that too, and we're
That's
like, oh
funny.
my gosh, he looks so good.
That's great.
But that one thing grabbed me, but my other side was like, yeah, who's this Yahoo? You know, but being Christian, both of us, I heard a voice, like I'm talking to you, and it says, you will marry this man.
How about that?
I'm like, yeah, right, okay. And I'm looking around, and look at his picture again. It says, you will marry this man.
Wow.
And I turned around, and I'm like, God?
It almost seemed like somebody was behind you whispering
Yes,
it to you.
it was just like, yeah,
Wow.
we're talking.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, right. And in a more assertive, it said, you will marry this man. And I was like, okay, God, that's you talking, okay? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be like Sarah, like laugh. But I was like, whatever you will. And, I didn't think anything of it after that. I was, to be honest, one of the reasons I went after him in a nice way is because he was a gentleman.
Yeah.
He invited me to the Christmas party, the command Christmas party. And he says, I don't want you to be alone. It's not a date. And he goes, I just want you to, feel like you're part of the command and that. And
Yeah.
But, too, my dad just passed, and my mom didn't want me to come home. And so I was, like, struggling with that.
Sure.
And he actually helped me. In more ways than one.
Yeah.
But then I was like, yeah, okay, this is not healthy. stuff like that. And that's when I made the decision. I talked to the command and said, I want to choose a rate. I want to go to A school and be productive
Sure.
in an
Oh,
actual rate.
You were sort of,
Undesignated.
I was undesignated. I was just E3.
and you were just kind of wallowing in
Yeah,
sort of not having a direction in your career.
correct. Well, one of the good things is we first met at Namchadet, but then he was transferred to VF-33, and I met some of his guys in his squadron, and they would sort
Party.
of kidnap me and throw me in the back of their pickup truck, and they say, "You're coming."
That's great.
And he was the lead, the first class in the AQ, and they would say, "Come on to the squadron, we'll teach you stuff." And I started seeing everything that the squadron did, and one of the instructors at Namchadet said, "You watch what we do here in AQ." And he showed me, and he goes, "I want you to take this test." And there were 5 guys, and they were laughing. He goes, "Don't laugh." And I took the test, and he had me second guessing. He goes, "Are you sure this is the answer you want?" And I was thinking, well, the path is this way, this is open. So I'm like, "Yes, sir, this is the answer."
Yeah.
And 3 of us passed, and the other 2 guys failed.
Wow.
So, and he goes, "I want to write a letter to get you in to become an AQ."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Really, you can?" Because women weren't allowed.
That's right. There were very limited roles for
Correct.
women in the Navy at that point, in the
Yeah.
military in general.
Right.
It was administration, cook, things like that.
Medical.
Yeah.
Medical,
Yeah,
okay.
that was about it.
Wow.
They just started opening up AM
Okay.
when I decided to go to A school.
Yeah.
And several of the instructors wrote a letter for me, but they turned it down. They said no women in AQ.
They weren't going to make
Now-
that change yet.
Nick said there was one, but her
Her
father was
an
admiral,
so
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you
she
go.
had the pull. So I chose AM, and one of the reasons I didn't make rank, I passed but not advanced. There were too many
Yeah.
in the field, and I had a wonderful time though. But
Sure.
but yeah, meeting him, you know, that's one of the reasons he helped me out a lot. But then I was like, yeah, screw this. And then when I came back to VF 101, then he started chasing me.
Okay, so
Ah.
interesting. So
Paula made me
Oh yeah,
chase
Paula.
you.
he was forced
His
to
best
chase.
friend's wife. Yeah.
So before you left for AM school to get your rate,
Mm-hmm.
you guys weren't, like, to use an old term, you weren't going steady.
No,
Was there any romantic connection at that point, or just kind of friends?
we were friends.
Friends.
Okay.
Friends.
Wow.
I mean, he had a car, so sometimes he'd say, "Hey, you want to go to this pub?" We'd go to this English pub. But no, there's no
Wow.
romance whatsoever.
And so you mentioned, was that the Grim Reapers? Is that what you were part of, the Grim Reapers?
I was.
Oh, you were part of the Grim-
101.
You were the Tracers? Is that what they?
Tarsiers fighting.
Tarsiers.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that exactly?
Tarsier is a Vietnamese monkey.
Ah.
How funny. the mascots the military comes up with are great.
I got a picture on my jacket here.
Oh yeah, I got to see that afterwards. Okay, so you attend AM school. How long does that take?
It was about 2 months.
Oh, that's short.
Yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't long.
And you come immediately back to Oceana after that?
Yeah. What happened was I really wanted to go overseas, but some of the guys in VF 101 knew me, and they said, "We really want Carrie to come learn F-14s," and F-14s were pretty new. And I was like, ooh, F-14s. Yeah, I want to work on an F-14.
Yeah.
And so they got me to VF 101.
Was the F-14 the replacement for the F-4?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, they replaced the F-4 pretty quick.
Yeah.
Is that fairly normal in the military, that turnover of aircraft?
Yeah. During we come in from a cruise, and
Yeah.
we would turn over aircraft
Wow.
real fast and get ready and deploy and train and get ready to go back out to sea.
That's impressive. I
Yeah.
guess there's always improvements to make.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
when I was still in VF 101, they started bringing F-18s in. They weren't ready. They weren't seaworthy yet, but
Gotcha.
they started training pilots.
Sure.
And they would pick some mechanics and that from different areas.
Yeah.
And, yeah, when I was still in, I was like, there's no way they're going to replace the F-14. But
Crazy.
yeah, they did.
For you,
F-14s were really tough to keep up. They were a lot of maintenance hours.
They would leak
Interesting.
a lot.
Really
Yeah, especially very temperament with the weather.
uh-huh.
interesting.
They were an excellent aircraft. I mean, I would say F-14.
It's the Tomcat,
anytime.
right?
Yeah,
And the F-4 is the Phantom?
Yep.
correct.
Okay.
Even with some of the leaks and maintenance issues, the F-14 was still a very good aircraft.
It flew well,
Yeah.
and it was fast.
Yes.
How many aircraft did you go through in your career, your 30-year career, Nick? I'm just curious now.
About 5, I
Yeah.
think.
How about that?
F-4s, F-14s,
You had a Hilo.
P-3s, MH-53.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so you come back from AM school. You join the 101 where they had sort of mentored you.
Correct.
Does the friendship start back up? Does it change? What happens between you guys when you come back?
Well, he was the only person I knew, so I had to call him to get a ride from the airport.
Okay,
'Cause
day one. There we go.
Yeah, Uber wasn't around,
Yeah,
nothing, and
yeah.
taxis. I didn't make anything. It was too much for a taxi.
Sure.
So I was like, dang it, I got to call him. But I remember saying, I said, look, you're just picking me up.
Yeah,
I don't want anything to do with you. Thank you.
sure.
You're a good friend, but I want to have fun,
Yeah.
do my own thing. And I did. I did a lot of detachments with VF 101, made really good friends. But I needed a car, and the only car I could get, and ironically, he'll say, you did it because I had this.
Uh-huh.
It was not intentional. The only car I could get was, you know how when you go in a car lot,
Yeah.
a used car lot, you have
Yeah.
the used cars, nice used cars up front.
Sure.
And then in the back, you have
The Junkers.
pretty good. Well,
Oh,
then
okay.
behind the Junkers, that's where I
Gotcha.
was.
Gotcha.
I was
The ones that barely limped in for trade-in.
yeah, that's where I was. I think I just put $500 down. And there was a guy with me because I was learning how to take care of a car through the guys from my squadron.
Yeah.
And so we were looking at the car, and I'm like, well, it leaks oil, but I could keep putting oil in it. I got a cheap old blue Vega automatic that was held together by duct tape and oil.
Nice.
Ironically, he had the same car, only it was a stick shift.
How about that?
And he goes, you did that on purpose? I said, no, this is the only car I could afford. Because they were trying to sell me a car with no engine. And I'm like, really?
Oh, my gosh.
I want to drive off the lot. At least try to drive off the lot.
Not Flintstone style either.
Wow.
Yeah. But no, that car was good, even though it had some oil issues.
Yeah.
But Vegas weren't known to be a good car.
Yeah.
But
One thing that happened to her is the timing chain broke on her car.
Yeah,
She, with her friends, fixed it
changed it
on the parking lot.
right in the parking lot.
How about
yeah.
that?
Wow.
I changed my brakes, changed the oil, valve cover gasket, everything.
You could probably get under the hood a little bit better
Spark.
on cars back then, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now they're all electric or electronic, and you can't really get inside of something and do
I
it.
wouldn't touch a car today.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they didn't have all the electronics, I would still be doing my own.
Yeah.
You're jogging my memory here from our earlier conversation, Carrie. I've heard you now a few times say, the guys from my unit, the group. It sounds like this was a very formative time for you in terms of the military being your family.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
Yes.
That unit became like family to you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They were like watching out for you and helping you
Mhm.
train and learn.
Mhm.
That's really interesting.
Were you the only female in your unit?
No, there were several. I was one of the hardcore ones. The guys knew they tried to sort of initiate you. I had fuel dumped on me, hydraulic fuel, but I kept working in that, and they're like, okay, she can hang.
Yeah.
And I would do jobs that a lot of people wouldn't do. In fact, I became an expert and started teaching on changing the landing gear and everything. You know, you take everything off and put it back.
And under the cowling.
Yeah.
It sounds like that
And
came
mechanic.
naturally to you, just like it came naturally to Nick.
Yeah, actually, when I was younger, I had an acuity for mechanics. I
Yeah.
could see things
Yeah.
and see things moving, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is... And I always liked taking stuff apart.
Sure.
It was unusual for a girl back then,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the 60s. And my mom was old school. She goes, no, you got to be in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be in the kitchen.
Here's your sewing machine.
Yeah. And so she really didn't like the idea of me going in the military. But I did really well on the tests and that for spatial.
Yeah, so it
And
made sense.
I did really well in math and science. My reading wasn't good. My reading comprehension even today is not good. But I can look at something and I remember numbers. He says that too. I can remember numbers really well. I see things like, but there was a few guys that really took me under their wings, and they would show me, and I'm good at, you show me once and I can do it.
Sure.
There might be a few questions I'll ask,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I take it and run.
Yeah.
And so they had me, I started training new people coming in. I remember yelling at one girl. We went out to the flight line and we were changing a rudder pack. And here I'm carrying the toolbox. They were pretty heavy. And we get on the F-14 and I'm explaining everything. And she goes, I just did my nails. And I'm like, what?
You had money for nails?
Yeah, really. Yeah. And I said, what are you doing being a mechanic? I said, you know we get dirty. And so she goes, well, I said, get off my jet. Get off my jet. And I got it fixed, but I went back in. I said, no, she doesn't want to get dirty. And so they put her doing administrative stuff. And I was like, but I was just really, into my job. I wanted to learn. I wanted to teach. And and if you stuff like that, I'm like, nuh-uh.
No, absolutely
not.
not.
I don't have patience for that.
I don't blame you. Your nails are going to get chipped. I'm sorry. That's part of the job. You're going to get grease on your hands.
Yeah.
This is a good segue. And this, if I understand the timeline correctly, this was before you guys decided to start dating.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, when you were an instructor, so you returned back to Memphis, am I getting that right? That's before you and Carrie got married?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to ask about this because, and I want to hear about just being an instructor as well and what you enjoyed about that. But I also want to hear about some of the darker times when you were there in Memphis. There's something that I heard you say. You go from work to the bar, sleep a few hours, back to work, and the cycle would repeat.
Yeah.
Tell us about that stage in your life and your career.
Well, I was chief at the time and was making good money. Didn't have a wife or kids like some of the other people, and there was not a whole lot for me to do, except my lifestyle was I would work, I would go to the bar, well, I would go to the gym and exercise, and then I'd go to the bar, and then I'd go home and sleep and go do that routine. That was my, constant routine. I didn't have anything better going. I liked the bars. I liked the strip clubs, that kind of lifestyle.
Is this where Nick Mon was born?
No, that was a lot earlier.
Okay, that was much earlier. Okay, so Nick Mon had already been created. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So it sounds like Nick Mon came out though quite a lot in Memphis.
Yes, quite a bit.
Okay.
And
by the way, it's Nick Monster. You would explain for us before we began recording.
Yeah, I was on instructor duty twice. The first time was when I met her.
Yeah.
And the second time I came in, I was a chief, eligible for senior chief. They didn't know what to do with me at the time, so they sent me into a class to learn a electronic system.
Sure.
And then the advancement information came out, and I found out I was a senior chief. Now, they didn't have an idea what to do with the senior chief. So they started something brand spanking new. They thought instructor systems development. And basically, what I would do was kind of 2 or 3 different parts. I would go out to different classrooms and do evaluations of the instructors. And I would watch them while they were training, making sure they were doing all the right stuff, making sure the classrooms were looking good and all that stuff. Also, I would go to the class lesson guides, and I would make sure all the lesson guides were up to date and current, and that if any new systems were coming out, I would make sure that the instructors had the new systems to their training. And then I would go out in spare time. I would do logistic type work, look for these systems that they have that they're supposed to keep track of, and I would go and find them and make sure that they were in where they belonged. They liked me. Senior chief, I got a lot of recognition, and I was a high paid, and she was still working. We're still making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so
now during that time in Memphis, I hope you don't mind me wanting to dig into this a little bit. That cycle that you began, was that a coping mechanism, or was that a destructive cycle?
I had a destructive cycle going on me, and that I didn't really realize was destructive. It just seemed like, what do you do on Friday after you're done?
Yeah.
Kind of snowballed a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, on Friday, you go and meet the guys at the club.
Sure.
And that was just a part of a Friday routine.
Yeah.
Now, later, when I was married and had more time, then I was a home person again.
Yeah. Did you find that period, that destructive period, like we were talking about, led to other bad habits or led to habits that sustained throughout the rest of your life? I'm wondering if a drinking problem developed from that.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. The Navy is kind of, when I was on sea duty, we would go out to sea. We'd be out floating for a couple weeks, pull into port, spend 3-4 days, maybe a week in port, and go out to sea again. I would save up paychecks. I'd go into port, and I would spend the paychecks in the bars.
Wow.
Yeah, I was not making a whole lot in savings at the time. This before I was married.
Basically, the entirety of your paychecks were going to drinks.
Yeah. I mean, well, actually not. I also had a book of the month club, so I had Reader's Digest books, and I was reading classic literature. I was reading lots of interesting things just to spend the time.
Yeah.
But in port, I would get a hotel room, go to the bar, stay at the hotel on the weekends, and that was pretty much my existence.
I'm curious. This is really interesting to me because before we began recording, you gave us the origin story of where Nick came from, and it's a humorous story. Something you mentioned was the way you dressed was very conservative.
Yeah.
You could have been mistaken for like a Mormon missionary.
Yeah.
I think is what you said. So I'm wondering, it almost sounds like you didn't have that rebellion period when you were younger, growing up in a chaplain's home, a chaplain officer's home of all things, who had been the son of a missionary. It sounds like it was a very conservative household. Thank you. Do you think you never had that rebellion period as a kid, and so then all of a sudden it came out in Memphis and on the port calls?
I didn't ever really consider it rebelling. I know it was.
Yeah.
But at the time, I wasn't thinking it was rebelling.
Sure.
I would go out with the guys and drink with the guys.
Yeah.
When we were on Liberty.
It was a social outing.
Yeah.
It was a thing to do.
It was just a social thing, and it was a routine.
Yeah.
My drinking was staggered on sea duty. When I was on shore duty, I knew I have a schedule. I couldn't be coming to work drunk, so
Sure.
I had to temper myself.
Yeah.
On weekends, though, I didn't have to temper myself.
Yeah.
My drinking issue was knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
It's when you start and don't know when to stop. That was my problem.
You mentioned port calls, and so I want to get into that because we've gotten to speak to a few sailors and one coastie, KJ, about the different types of accolades you receive on the sea. So one of yours is you're a shellback. I think a multiple time shellback.
Couple
is that
times,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Tell us about some of the. They don't call them awards. What do they call them exactly?
You get a shellback certificate.
Certificates. That's right. Yeah. Tell us about what you received and the kinds of adventures you had in the sea.
The first time I went across the equator, and you can only be a shellback when you go across the equator on or under the sea. Our captain of our ship was a pollywog. Everybody's a pollywog until they've done the equator.
Yeah.
At sea. So he had a ceremony slightly different than ours, I'm sure. What they told us to do was wear our trousers inside out so that pockets are flapping. And wear a T-shirt and not our dress shirt.
Sure.
And we wore it inside out also. So you can see the tag right here.
It was on the front. You guys reversed it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're looking about as ridiculous as possible.
Yes. And you're on your hands and knees waiting in the hangar bay of an aircraft carrier in formation, waiting for the elevator. And then the shellbacks would guide you to the elevator, and
That's
you would
great.
ride the elevator up.
That's great.
And if you were slow, they had what they call shillelaghs that were basically 3-4 foot long fire hose that was
It's like a flog, basically.
and it made a lot of noise, but it didn't really hurt that much.
Okay, that's good.
But it sounded like it would hurt. So they were guiding you along the path that they want you to go into, and you get up to the flight deck. Hangar bay and the flight deck on an aircraft carrier is non-skid. It's pretty darn rough. Yes. So we were wearing some makeshift gloves out of T-shirts, basically.
So you didn't scuff up your hands too much. Yeah.
And so we'd crawl up there onto the flight deck, and one at a time we would go through an obstacle course that they had developed for us.
Oh, boy.
If you picture like a tube made out of sheets, they were nice, wet sheets, and you would crawl through that, and you would be crawling through lettuce and carrots and,
Oh, boy.
and miscellaneous vegetables. And then you would go from there to a pool of water. That was basically an engine cage. What they send ships. They ship
Big
engines,
canister
big
type
canister
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Fill it with water, flood it with vegetables and stuff, and you would swim through that.
Oh, man.
That's great.
And you're picking up along the way. You're picking up different lubrications like oil and grease and stuff like that on your way to meet Neptune.
King Neptune.
King Neptune was sitting on his throne, and
Navy is so weird, man. I'm sorry.
That is the craziest story I've ever heard, I think.
King Neptune was sitting on his throne, and he was probably the fattest chief on the ship. And he was bare-bellied, and he had a cherry in his belly button.
You gotta be
man.
kidding. You gotta be kidding me.
So
I'm out.
we got to eat that cherry.
You're kidding me. Somebody had to eat that out of his belly button?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No.
Yeah.
That is, I would.
And then his loyal sidekick would say, "So what are you?" And you would have to tell him, "I am a shellback."
And then you're done, right?
And then you're done.
Okay, thank goodness.
But then you're on the flight deck. And at the time, there weren't any females on the ships. So you're on your flight deck, so you take your clothes off except for your underwear, and you're just throwing it over the side of the ship. Because you
can't use it again, yeah.
It was totally wasted. And then you run around and try and take a shower. But you're limited on how much time you can take a shower on it. This was an old aircraft carrier. It's not one of these fancy new nuclears where they got more fresh water than should
well, they're
be allowed.
desalinating the water probably, and
Yeah. And we were not able to desalinate that many. So, in matter of fact, when you make a cup of coffee, you would look for the skim of oil on the top of it.
Ay.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah.
Yikes.
Not so much a problem nowadays. Jet engine fumes might settle on water, but outside of that, it's not like it was back in the good old days.
Oh, man, the good old days.
You got the royal treatment.
Yes, he did. From King Neptune himself.
Yeah.
And the royal cherry.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And I got pictures to prove it.
It's funny.
I'm not sure I want to see those pictures.
We have to see him now.
The King Neptune on my particular first time was the best man at my wedding.
Oh, how about that?
Are you serious? Levi Tarr?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's too funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's a great segue again. You guys are great at these segues. So let's go forward now to when you guys finally decide, okay, enough games. We like each other. Let's make this happen and start a courtship and dating. Go to that period in time.
Paula, again, we have to bring her up. She's the wife of my best friend at the time, and she knew that I needed to have to settle down.
Sure.
I was at that point thinking I didn't want to die alone anyway.
Yeah.
The particular girlfriend that I had, whose name I won't mention for your sake, was my favorite bartender, actually. So Paula said no. My former bartender friend was telling me she was going to get married anyway to somebody else. So Paula said that she was going to. She decided. She didn't tell me this. She decided that she was going to set me up. That I was going to be getting married.
Yeah.
And talked with Carrie, and was convincing Carrie that I would be a good person to marry.
What a matchmaker.
Yeah.
Wow, Paula,
Yeah.
my goodness.
And she convinced Nick and myself that, because he's 12 years older than I am, that, that's nothing if you love each other. And
That's great.
I don't know how it just slowly, because he would invite me to go over and we'd have pizza, play cards with him and stuff, and or I would come after when I got done for my squadron and meet him. So we did hang out with his friend and Paula,
Gotcha.
Jay and Paula.
Was Jay on board with Paula's plan? Is he on the program?
Jay was.
He was a hard.
He was an officer, LDO at the time, limited duty officer, and he was in Diego Garcia at the time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That Paula was, I'm pretty sure, because he wasn't at the wedding.
No, he wasn't. But She was very subtle.
Yeah.
In fact, one time she took me out shopping. I'm not a big shopper. And she,
Or you weren't at the time.
I wasn't at the time.
She evolved.
Yeah. Now with Candace, our daughter,
Yeah.
but she subtly took me over to the jewelry store. And, ooh, look at these rings. They're pretty. And I'm like, yeah, they're very nice. She goes, well, which ones do you like? And I'm like, I don't know. These look. She goes, well, pick your 3 favorite.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm not thinking, I'm like, oh, yeah, these are nice. These are really nice. And
It's not that she was subtle. You just were like unassuming.
I was, oblivious.
Because pick your 3 favorites, pretty blunt.
Yeah. Yeah, really. I mean, I was like, what's going on, And she always had this smirk on her face, too. And
Conniving.
She
She's always
knew.
conniving.
She knew.
Yeah.
She knew. But I don't know
I can't remember.
when it really,
Like clicked.
we
Yeah.
just started going out more.
Yeah.
And then I noticed on his birthday, I knew something was up. I bought him a little tiny diamond tie-tack.
Uh-huh.
And he was just acting really weird. And I was like, something's up. And I remember telling him, I had a funny feeling he was going to ask me to marry him. As Paula started, she was opening up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, if we do, I said, don't call me a housewife. I'm not married to the house.
Yeah.
We both make messes. We both clean up. And I said, you're going to help me with everything. I said, if you don't like it, don't ask me to marry you.
Sure.
But he took me to this little place. It was in Virginia Beach. It was an old train car. Yeah. It's not there anymore. But I could tell something was up because he ate really fast. And I'm like, are you okay? He goes, yeah. And he's, sort of dabbing his forehead.
That's great, yeah.
And then he started talking. He wanted to make sure I was done because he didn't want me to choke. Because I probably would have, because I was like, oh, my God,
Yeah.
And he goes, you bought me this diamond. I want you to be my diamond.
Oh, that's nice.
And just
That's
as
great.
he said
Nice.
that, I know, it was really sweet. And the waiter came out as he said that, and he runs back, and you heard him go, oh, my gosh, he just proposed. We got to do something. And you heard these plates, clanking, and they're getting something. But, it was really sweet. And of course, I said, I do.
That's great.
And,
How long was the engagement before the wedding?
I don't know. I was still on sea duty.
Yeah. He did go out, and Paula helped me with a lot. I mean, I borrowed everything. I didn't know. I borrowed my one sister's dress, and Paula, she happened to cater at the time, so she made our cake.
Yeah.
She knew a caterer that got some food.
She was a caterer.
Yeah, but she didn't bring the food.
No,
fact,
she didn't bring the food, but she brought the cake.
Yeah.
Paula was prepared.
She
had,
was.
She had a whole
Oh,
vision
she
board.
knew.
She did have a vision board.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
She knew what she was doing.
That's great.
But it was funny, the day we got married, just my family and his family were in attendance. We invited both of our squadrons, but both of our squadrons were called on alert.
Oh, man.
And nobody could come. And our photographer was in his squadron.
Oh, man.
So my brother-in-law at the time, he says, let's get some instant cameras. And they're taking, everybody's
that's
taking
fun.
pictures. But it turned out well, I mean, considering.
I was going to ask, I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to ask about the families. I'm happy to hear that they were both in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of curious about this reflection point. Did you both have a moment where you looked out from the altar and saw your families in which you thought, kind of like what we said earlier, everything has worked out for a reason, all the trials, tribulations, tough times, turmoil, all those things have led to this point? Did that happen for you at the altar?
I was still pretty much in shock. Now, honestly,
Yeah.
her brother was the best man.
Yeah.
He had to grab my hand and move it onto hers.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just
Yeah.
immobile.
Yeah.
And my mom, she warmed up to him. She didn't like him at first because my mom, with my one sister and her husband, came to visit me at NES Oceana. And I said, these are the guys that helped me, taught me on the F4 and that.
Yeah.
And I said, that's Nick. He didn't turn around and say hi.
Ooh.
He was working.
Bad first impression.
Yeah. And I said, well, Mom, he's working. That was a bad impression.
Oh, my gosh, she remembered. Yeah.
So, yeah. And, but she turned around. I always said she loved him more than me, but because he bought a house, brand new house, furnished it for me and that. And my mom was like, oh, okay. He must be a good guy.
He's taking care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I at that time, I was still on sea duty, so
Yeah.
we didn't spend a lot of time together.
Sure.
No, we, in fact, because both of our squadrons were on alert, as soon as we got married, we only had a week, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
Not even a week. It was a weekend. And I was working ungodly hours, 23 hours,
Yeah.
slept at the squadron. In fact, that's what they said, because we were turning aircraft around
Sure.
and back and forth. Hot switching, and that. Hot switching is where a jet comes in, it's still turning, and the pilot switched out.
I see. Wow.
And you launch them that fast. And
Immediately.
Really? That's interesting. I've never heard of that. Have
Yeah.
you?
Incredible.
Hot
I hadn't
switching.
heard of that. You do a quick refueling, I'm guessing, but
Yeah.
that's it.
That's
yeah,
when
Wow.
and a quick check, because I was a troubleshooter at the time.
Yeah.
And you do a quick check, making sure there's no leaks or anything, but it's still turning.
Wow.
I mean,
Kind of like a pit crew almost.
Yeah. But because we were on alert, that's how it was, and we hardly slept. And he was out to sea, so it was good because it kept me busy.
Yeah.
But as far as your question, I think I was in shock too, because I was like, wow, God was right.
Yeah, that's
God
right.
mar-
That's
you
right.
know, and but no, he's taking care of me quite well.
Yeah.
We obviously 43 years. We have many more adventures. In fact, getting back to Shellback,
Sure.
I'm going to be coming Shellback in April. We're going on
Hey!
a cruise, and
Refuse the ritual.
oh,
I don't want to see any cherries beating into anybody's
he's
belly
good.
button.
he's going to make sure I get at the Shellback.
she's gonna have. She has to get some kind of
PG version.
initiation.
Yeah,
It's going to be on a civilian ship.
yeah,
you know,
Royal
not
Caribbean.
us, you
So
know.
it's going to be much nicer.
That's great.
I mean,
You're not going to hijack the cockpit or the wheelhouse.
And I won't make her crawl.
Will you make a certificate just for the fun
You
of it?
should. You should make a
Yeah,
certificate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be good.
Well, we did buy some coins that I can give her one once she has earned it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I want to highlight a few interesting points. I'd like for you to tell the story about the Super Carrier television
Oh,
series on ABC.
All right.
Tell us about that.
Well, I saw this ad in the paper for production assistants, and I was like, I can do that. And I was in the Navy. I can, get around. So when I went, they said, well, we have wardrobe open. You can do wardrobe. I'm like, okay. And they said, do you need help getting on the carrier and know where to go? I said, no, I know. Just give me
Yeah.
the number and I'll find
Yeah.
it. And so when I got into the area of the ship where wardrobe was, I was just mesmerized by, I love being on a ship,
Yeah.
especially when I helped build the Lincoln. I knew that ship. That's my ship. I knew
Sure.
every aspect of it. And just listening to Nick and that, I just took everything in. But it was just fascinating that Hollywood was right there. They had
Sure.
different areas, like wardrobe here, hairstyle here, So, and
This
so
is on
forth.
the John F. Kennedy, USS
John F. Kennedy,
Okay.
correct,
Yeah.
67.
So tell us the issue with that television series and why it didn't go very far.
Well, they had this sailor, a brand new sailor, coming aboard the Kennedy, and he needed to check in.
This was part of the plot of the show.
Correct.
Yeah.
And everything's going on. Jets are being launched. The whole ship is doing what it needs to do. Well, he comes on the quarterdeck, and he goes, I need to report here. And the way I saw a little bit from the shoot.
Sure. Yeah. Like the monitor or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sailor that's, you need to go here. You need just to go here. Go here. And so the sailor is with his sea bag and everything. He goes, over here? And they weren't using the right terms, like
Sure.
port, starboard.
Sure.
They did say go down the gangway. And every stop he made, asking directions, that happens. Oh, well, you go here. And it just made the Navy look like they didn't know what they were doing.
Chaotic and confused.
Correct. And the Navy didn't like that. They said, we don't do that.
And it was obviously their ship. They were sort of hosting this production.
Correct.
And so if they didn't like how the production was being done, they could just nix it at any point.
Right.
And that's what they did.
And they did have naval coordinators that were actually in the Navy or retired.
Uh-huh.
They weren't listening to them.
Gosh.
Or they said, okay, yeah, we'll do that. But then when Hollywood did their rewrite or whatever they do, they said, we're doing it this way. And so there was that conflict.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's not how we do it. We want it this way or you're out. And the Hollywood was like, well, then we're out.
Yeah. The Navy didn't want to be
I think
portrayed.
it lasted 8 episodes is what we saw.
Yeah. The late 80s, was that right?
88, I think.
88.
See, I saw the pilot, and the pilot was really good. They followed everything, and the Navy thought, okay, if you're going to keep it this way, we'll keep it. But when that one scene where this sailor, and not even a scene, it was a progression in this one episode of this sailor trying to get to his place, his station, and it just seemed chaotic.
Yeah. And that was really what did it then, that one episode.
Correct.
Wow. Well, the Navy knows what it wants.
Yeah.
So.
And it wasn't even the whole episode. It was just.
Yeah.
And the Navy was like, no.
How long did it take to do an episode? Do you remember about how long it took to film one episode?
Oh, gosh. It takes months sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Because when you watch any movie or TV, you know how you start with the first scene? Well, when they shoot, that may not be the first scene you shoot.
Oh.
Because especially like outside or something, if the scene calls for sunny weather and it starts raining, they have to go look and say, okay, do we have a scene with any rain or something like that?
To knock that one out.
Yeah, so they jump around.
Yeah.
And that's why on every TV series and movie, there is a, what do I say? Because I always catch it, even today. Continuity. There's a continuity error coordinator.
Sure.
And they have to look, like, for instance, and I've caught this, you guys may have caught this. Say, for instance, this mug's here in the scene, and you see the actor drinking. The next scene, you'll see either the mug gone,
or
which
a
may
different
not
mug
be, or a different mug, or a different outfit, but they're in the same
scene.
Ah.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute, that's a continuity error.
Yeah.
And they do that too. They make sure everything is,
which takes a lot of time.
Yeah. So it takes a lot because one episode, as you say, it not only goes through pre-production, it goes through production where that's the physical aspect of the cameras out there, the actors, and then it goes through post-production where editing is. And they may have to call the actors back in and say, you need to do this voiceover, or let's get this prop in there and reshoot this scene to make it look like this, or something like that. So it's a long process.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
I wanted to bring that up because that opportunity arose while you were serving in the Navy Reserves.
Correct.
And also while you were actively helping construct, build, and test what would become the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Correct.
Your Navy Reserve time was from 1983 to 1989, and then you had a short break in service, and then you joined the Army Reserves.
Correct.
I'm curious because that's not a career trajectory I've seen very much or very often. Tell us what the purpose of that was. Did it have something to do with following Nick's career?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because he got orders to VQ 101 in Guam, and I was pregnant at the time. VQ 1.
Okay.
And I was pregnant at the time, and Candace was born December of '89 on Guam, and I was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And these, call them the Candace's adoptive grandparents. They lived kitty corner to us on base, and they said if we ever needed anything, we'll watch her, which was really nice. And I talked to Nick about it. He was getting ready to go over. He was over in Desert Storm, and briefly.
Initially in Japan.
Yeah, but then
later in Desert Storm.
Yeah. And I said, I'm going crazy with nothing to do in the Navy Reserve.
Sure.
And I don't want to lose my time. What do you think about a lateral move? And he was all for it. And so I went through the motions, and I became military police in the Army Reserve.
How about that?
And the grandparents helped a lot because they had to watch her, Candace. But, yeah, I thoroughly loved it because at one point I wanted to become a police officer. Well, I thought of it when I was still in Detroit.
Sure.
My mom shot it down.
And that's where those riots kind of came back into play in terms of decision-making.
Mm-hmm. And I did really well. And, of course, General Norman Schwartzkopf was there. My name, everybody's like, oh, Schwartzkopf's in our unit.
That's great.
Yeah.
Storm and Norman's daughter's in our unit.
And so some big officer from the Army came, and he was making sure I had everything.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
fantastic.
Well, I want to make sure my unit has everything as well, not just, But, yeah, people came up to me asking for my autograph. I'm like, I'm nobody. And they said, well, can you please? I said, sure, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Oh, my gosh.
But, that's awesome.
But, I had a really good time doing it. And it was scary a lot because we had live drills. I was on the turret, M60, and we had live gas. And so it was surreal.
Yeah. So a lot of live fire exercises.
Yeah, because they didn't know. There was some of the guys in our unit that were already over in Desert Storm, and they were going to rotate people.
Sure.
And so we didn't know who.
Or when it could happen.
Right.
Could be at any time.
Yeah, so they wanted to make sure we were prepared, we were ready.
So, since we were talking about that, and we mentioned General Norman Schwartzkopf, I'm glad you mentioned that about Nick being over at Desert Storm, because that's not something I had seen in my research. Tell us about your role during Operation Desert Storm, Nick.
Actually, I was there in Desert Shield ahead of Desert Storm.
Gotcha.
I flew out the day of.
Wow.
I was
that's my bad.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I was returning back to the base.
What were your duties during Desert Shield?
I was a maintenance control officer.
Gotcha.
So the airplanes would come in. I would just take a look at their records and make sure all logistics issues were taken care of there. I flew from Guam to Diego Garcia, sat there for a week, and then up to Bahrain.
Okay.
Airplanes were maintained out of Bahrain. Storm and Norman was in visiting or traveling through there. When I got there and they heard my name, this guy, Sergeant or Gunny, actually, from up in the tower, the Marines were controlling the tower for the military.
Sure.
Came down and introduced himself and asked who was all there. Who I told him my name, and he said, "All right, give me 15 minutes, and I'll go up and introduce you to the guys in the tower." So I gave him 15 minutes. I walked up to the tower, and he said, "Attention on deck, Schwartzkopf's on board." Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You didn't make him swim through anything, did you?
No, that was funny.
That's too good.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's not Schwarzkopf.
yeah.
That's funny.
Did you have a feeling of because Desert Shield was a very important ramp up for the success,
Yeah.
the rapid success of Desert Storm? Did you sort of have a moment where you thought back to when you would ask to go to Vietnam and that request was denied, and now you're here at the ramp up of an impending war, doing your job, being an active member of the team? Did you have sort of that feeling of, I finally fulfilled that?
I don't know. When I was there, yeah, there was this. Everybody was tense.
Yeah.
Everybody was just thinking, this can come down any minute now, and here I am.
Yeah.
And I was thinking kind of logistically at the point, where's my rifle? Where's
Sure.
my gun? Where do we deploy to? Where do we hide? Where
Yeah.
I was trying to work out in my mind, okay, what do I do when everything comes apart?
To be ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of weird. Everywhere you go, it seems like we were in a really nice hotel when we first got there. And then the guy who drove the bus would always go out to the bus first thing in the morning with his mirror and check under the carriage of the bus and make sure that he didn't see anything weird.
Yeah.
And that kind of tension was there the whole time. Is very surreal.
Wow.
We moved from that one hotel to another hotel that didn't seem near as secure to me. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I don't know that I can defend myself or anybody at this point. I wake up in the morning and hear that guy in the tower screaming at you.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a weird emotional thing.
I bet it was.
At the airport, this one foreign guard would be propping himself up underneath our airplane wing for shade, and he would look up and, well, I won't get into that. There was some stuff that we did to the airplane to make it look more like a war fighter.
Yeah.
And he was checking that out.
Where were you stationed exactly? You mentioned Bahrain. Is that where you were?
Yeah, I was in Bahrain.
Okay, and that's kind of the prepping point for all the aircraft, I'm guessing, before the invasion?
That was the prepping point for our squadron.
For your squadron.
It wasn't big enough to be a prepping point for
for the entirety of the operation.
Right.
I got you. Okay.
Were you guys under any threat of Scuds at that time?
I didn't hear any discussion about Scuds. I mean, we could look at a building, and when we were driving through town, we could look through a building and see pockmarks from bullet holes and stuff like that, and that would be kind of offsetting.
But no alarm for like Scuds or anything like that?
No, not even really discussions about it.
Okay.
The base was a pretty secure area. The security at the gate was the national, Bahrain national security. One time went through there, and there was a guy supposedly on guard duty at the entrance to the place, and he was on his hands and knees saying his morning prayers.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was, like the whole experience was pretty
different.
surreal.
What a culture shock, you know?
Yeah. And the one thing that was like a trigger to me that really set my shackles up a little bit was the little brick things with W.O. printed on it. Looked like a little tiny gravestones. And I was thinking, no, I can't let that get to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were like water lines or whatever, something
Sure.
like
Yeah.
that. But
yeah.
I mean, that was,
The visual was a little bit alarming.
yeah.
So I know for sure that Jason and I are going to skip a bunch of things that I wish we had more time to talk about. But I do want to save space for your lives after the military. So take me back to, well, let's do this. Take me back to January of 2000. You're out.
Oh, wow, yeah.
You've been out for a while.
Mhm.
What does life look like after that point in time?
I actually, a couple months before I got out, I had communicated with a friend of mine that I knew from years earlier, and he was working at Boeing, and he called me and he said, "Yeah, come down and talk to these people. They could use some more instructors." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'll check it out."
Did you tell them I tried that once and they didn't want me?
Didn't meet that. No, I didn't get that. I went down there one time. My brother was a security guard, and I got on to their property, and
Sure.
I looked around it. And another time I went there, and that guy that had contacted me about a potential job took me up and met the boss of the training unit there at Boeing, and talked to me, and basically they hired me right out of the military.
That's
Pays
fantastic.
to know people,
Yeah.
you know,
That's fantastic.
and have advocates. Yep.
Yeah, and actually, some of about 4 of the other people that were already there worked with me, knew me.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
that's
that's great.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good transition then.
yeah, it was like walking right to another base.
Yeah. And you got to do some pretty cool stuff, if I understand, while at Boeing.
Oh yeah,
Secret squirrel kind of stuff.
actually, yeah, top secret secured compartment.
And if he tells you, he has to kill you.
I know, so I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, it was really. I'm a science fiction reader from the time I was in high school. My English teacher said if I did another report on a science fiction writer, it was an F. So working at Boeing was like science fiction
Yeah.
for some of the neat stuff that I saw.
I'm sure that had to scratch an itch for you,
Oh yeah,
having been interested in aviation all your life,
yeah,
and sort of like a dream coming true there
it
at Boeing.
was.
Carrie, go through your life after. Let's go after Nick got out, because I know your
Okay.
life kind of revolved around Nick's career up until
Yeah.
2000. So tell us what life was like for you after that.
Well, 2000, we moved from. I hated moving from Maryland to here. In
Yeah.
fact, the first 10 years we were here, I hated it. I was
Oh,
like,
man.
I want to be back by the ocean.
Sure.
The
Yeah,
first
stuff like
day here,
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
pure hell.
Oh, man.
The Midwest armpit.
We drove. We drove through and the ice storm
Oh,
from Maryland to here.
Yeah.
And that was really hard. He was in the van and I was in the car, and it was white knuckled the whole way.
Oh, gosh.
And so I was already spent.
Yeah.
And when we got here, I was like, I don't want to be here. I threw stuff out of the car. I'm getting it back in my car. And I'm leaving, and I'm going back to Maryland.
Only half jokingly, I'm guessing.
Well, he gently grabbed me and he, said, "Come on in. Let's."
Yeah.
Boeing gave us this apartment, so I did. I was helping, but I'm like,
Begrudgingly. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll stay.
yeah. So me, like I said, I always look at the positives. After a while, I was like, okay, what does this place have to offer? And I decided to go back to school. And I got a degree that I actually don't use. I did use. I got burned out. I became a social worker.
Okay, very good.
'Cause I thought
Yeah.
I could help people in that. And
Yeah.
I did. I was on the side of mental health and drug abuse.
Sure, yeah.
And the 10 people that were in my graduate class, only one of them still doing it. You get burned out, and especially in
Was it compassion fatigue?
in recidivism of the clients.
I see.
Especially with drugs
Yeah,
and alcohol. And
yeah.
we say what comes first, like the chicken or the egg. Does mental health come first, or the drugs, or do the drugs cause the mental
Sure.
health?
Yeah.
So there's
Vicious
still
cycle.
yeah. And I got burned out. I was like,
Sure.
no, this isn't for me. And so I've always fallen back on my mechanics.
Yeah.
And the last Alameda, when we were stationed there, I became a CB, and they taught me to weld. And unfortunately, I did get the plank owner award out of it, but they disbanded because of government cuts.
Gotcha.
So I don't really mention that because it was like, yeah, here we go, we're going to start.
And it
then,
was
oh,
gone.
sorry, it's gone.
Yeah. So this is interesting. I'm just putting the pieces together. Was that the first time that you called St. Louis home after Nick's career was completed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're from St. Louis, so
Yeah.
for you, you're coming back home.
Yeah.
For you, it's like a foreign land.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that helped, Candace was 9, I believe. She loved going to the mall.
Uh-huh.
So I got this, you know how the Navy, they give you this packet. And she was pointing out all the malls that were in the area.
Yeah.
So I think, what was it, the Galleria she wanted to go to in West County. Those were
Sure.
the two that she really liked.
Where'd you guys live? Like Creve Coeur or Maryland Heights or something was the area that the
Where'd
apartment
they
was
put
located.
Where'd they put the apartment? Where was the apartment? Do you remember?
It was awful. I'm not really sure.
It was a very nice
It was
school.
also Pattonville School District, I thought.
Was
Oh,
it?
Pattonville.
Okay.
Pattonville. Okay.
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 So like Maryland Heights area.
Maryland
then.
Heights, yeah.
Okay.
That was it, Maryland Heights.
Because that's close to those malls, or fairly
Okay.
close anyway. That's why I was
All right.
guessing that one.
Yeah, it was a really nice apartment.
Yeah.
And she loved the school. And
Yeah.
And but
So-
then she got a welcome when we moved. When we found a house in Illinois,
Sure.
she got a welcome to tornadoes. We were still in St. Louis, and I said, well, let's go to this Walmart and get cleaning supplies. And our dog Shelby was in the car.
Uh-huh.
I didn't think anything of it. I'm looking at the clouds, and I'm like, they look funny. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as we get in, the sirens started going off.
Yeah. Man.
And she was, Mommy, I got to go to the bathroom. And so I'm going to the back, and this young gentleman, he was, I don't know, maybe 16. He goes, you can't go, you know. And I'm like,
Shelter in
gonna-
place. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, okay. Well, he sheltered us in the TVs. I was like, are you serious? You know, if something
All the
really
glass.
happens, all the glass. So I took Candace and I went to the stuffed animal section. I cleared out this bottom shelf,
Yeah.
put stuffed animals around her, put one on top of her, and I laid next to her, and she's crying.
Yeah.
you know,
It's scary.
yeah. And I said, hold on to this stuffed animal, and I held on to her. And because they said there was a tornado not even blocks away.
Wow.
It was pretty close. And she's also crying for Shelby, our dog. And I'm thinking about her, or the dog, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking I got to be strong and brave
Sure,
because I
for
don't
your
want
daughter.
her to, yeah. Well, it finally passed, and she was able to go to the bathroom, and Shelby was fine. But she
Good.
was like, what is that? And for the longest time, she was very scared.
Yeah, that'd be traumatic.
Yeah,
for a
she had
young
all
girl.
her little stuffed animals in our sea bags. You know, she
Yeah.
made sure they were downstairs, and yeah, it was very traumatic for her
Wow.
for a
Yeah.
while.
She was out there looking for a house for us to move into, and I was still at work.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I started going to school, And then I decided not, and I found a welding job on the river, working on the barges. I met a whole bunch of really nice ex-cons. 'Cause this was a place where they got tax incentive to hire ex-cons, and they took care of me because I was a good welder.
Sure.
And they even said, this one guy, I felt for him. He just got out of prison, didn't have any money.
Yeah.
He needed lunch. And I said, here, I'll give you 20 and go get something. And he said, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. And I'm like, okay, but in the back of my mind,
Sure.
like,
You're not going to see
sure,
the $20
okay,
again.
Yeah. And there was one time we were all going out to get burgers, and I'm like, dang it, I could use that $20. And they're like, who owes you $20? I'm like, it's okay, guys. No, who owes you $20? I'm like, so-and-so. I said, I'll get it. And they said, look, we can take him out, shove him over into the river, and nobody would ever find him.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, they were literally
Over $20.
Over $20. They would literally do that. And these guys were good. I mean, because I think the Navy taught me, too, you know, you have to have a rough side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the street snorts from Detroit.
Right.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot.
And they could probably sense that you had that street smarts, too.
Yeah.
That you weren't getting pushed around or anything like that.
Well, some of the guys tried, and I just, you know, I was like, look, I know where your balls are. And I'm not,
I'll fight back.
Yeah, and I you know. But,
I love it. I
Glenn
love
Fig,
it.
Would you mind, guys? Could I
I
tell a
don't know.
joke?
Let's not tell them that one.
You can tell it. It's up to, I mean,
You can edit it out. I don't know. Do you want me to tell it? It's not bad.
No, okay.
Okay.
We convinced them.
Okay. It was really cold. It was in the winter. We were working on the barges on the river, and before we went to our jobs, we're all standing around, and the guys are saying, "Oh my gosh, it's so cold. My balls are frozen." And I'm like, I know, it's so cold, my balls froze off.
That wasn't so bad. That's great.
But I had to be that way.
Pal around, joke
knew,
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew. You know, and they liked me for that, and that I was a hard worker.
You guys ended up in Glen Corbin.
That's correct.
And I bring that up because before we close, I want to make sure we give Carrie the time. She referenced it earlier, but I want to give you the platform to talk about the organization that you're passionate about and trying to organize.
Yeah, I have it. I can show you a picture of it.
Sure.
But it's a support group for first offenders, veterans, nurses, anyone that is having a hard time. Yeah. And it's mainly you come and you just, if you want to tell your story, you can. I'm not a counselor or anything like that. It's just whatever you want to say in that, and it's a place where we're not going to say anything.
No
it's
judgment
just welcome.
zone.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
do you have a name for that organization? Are you at that point in the stage of it?
I just call it the support group.
Sure.
But the Felicia, who is working at the Glen Carbon Community Center, she posts it, and it's the fourth Monday of every month. And it's been a passion of mine because I struggle, and I've seen counselors and that, and they're good and all, but you want to talk to people that can understand.
Sure.
You know, that
and that aren't getting paid to listen.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Nick and Candace, and they're all for it, and I just been mulling it over. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to go to Felicia at the Glen Carbon Community Center, ask her, what do you think? She goes, oh, my gosh, yeah.
That's
so
fantastic.
she posts as well, and I post on public on Facebook. But, yeah, it's just come, and if you want to talk, it's fine. If not, we're here to help you feel safe.
Well, Jason and I might have a suggestion. I think we're probably thinking of the same person to get you in touch with.
Yeah.
A really fantastic Air Force veteran, actually. But we'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
I don't really have... usually I have some sort of, like, smart, like, clever summary of the interview, but I think I just want to say how much I've enjoyed getting to speak with you both. And I also want to say, Jason and I have been doing this long enough, Jason longer than I have. I can pretty confidently say it is not easy. It is not easy for our guests to come here and be so vulnerable and open and honest about their life experiences. And every single time they surprise me. And every single time our guests and these veterans give of themselves, give of their time. They are open and honest. They are willing to share things that in some cases they never shared before. So I just want to thank you guys, Nick and Carrie Schwartzkopf, for being here with Jason and me, sharing your story. And I also want to applaud you for your service, your years of service. Your country thanks you. I thank you as a fellow veteran. I think the through line, the clever thing I'll say to end for my part, and then we'll end with Jason, is you guys, both of you had so many moments in your life where if things had just gone slightly differently, nothing would be the same. And everything worked out. In my opinion, everything worked out perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not that everything was perfect, but everything worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are a testament to that. So
Well, thank you.
thank you guys for being here.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Ethan and Jason. I mean, we were a little nervous, I'll be honest. And but it also helps us as well to speak about some of this. And there's some things that I mention that I don't usually mention
Sure.
to people.
Well, we appreciate you doing that.
And to me, though, the museum, the military museum, too, I look as a safe place as well.
Good.
And I appreciate it.
And it is, and we want it to be seen as a safe place.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a safe place for me, and I'm not even a veteran. But Ethan, very well said. Nick and Carrie, thank you again so much. One of the things that I try to do at the end of every, and I've been self-reflecting for quite a while now on how I wanted to frame this, but in essence, kind of the way that I saw this through my lens was that this was your stories, both of your stories are a cross-section of experiences that are essentially the fabric of our community. And then also the true leadership that we talk about with every veteran story we see is that not only did you serve your country, but after the fact, you serve your community in different aspects, right? And now that you have this, what we just spoke about is your leadership, you stepping up for your community where you live and in your community center, having this safe space for first responders, for veterans, for people that need to talk and get things off their chest and be listened to from people that understand them. So I wanted to highlight that and really applaud both of you for everything you've done for this country and for your community. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off of the Operation Insight podcast from the Mid-America Veterans Museum.
Operation Insight is brought to you by the Mid-America Veterans Museum, where we believe every veteran has a story. If you agree and you enjoyed today's podcast, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and leave a review on whichever platform you listen. Don't forget, sharing this episode with friends and family is a great way to support the museum and our mission of sharing veteran stories. Thank you for listening.